Hello, welcome back to our countdown to Christmas. Today is Christmas Eve, it's the 24th of December, only one more sleep until Christmas Day, and of course we've got one final video for you. Now, in yesterday's video we talked about 3 Plasmancers going up against a Transcendent Catan Shard, so a lot of mortal wounds going out there, so if you missed that one, check that out in the playlist, or in the top right of your screen now there should be a link. As for the final video today, we've got 2 Catacomb Command Barges going up against the Silent King. So guys, before we get into today's video, a little bit of bookkeeping. First of all, I just want to thank every single person that's got involved in the giveaway. If you've liked the videos, been subscribed to the channel, and made comments down below which of the units you prefer, then of course you're going to be entered into the giveaway for that box set. So thank you all for getting involved in that. Also a personal thank you to all the members and patrons in the members areas. You've been a huge help, and without you guys, we literally cannot do what we're doing. So thank you very much. And of course, if you'd like to be a member, just join down below. There's a blue button called join. It might be white now actually, I'm not sure. Right, so today's video, 2 command barges going up against the big one, the Silent King. Let's roll the final transition. Okay, so the points was at first a little bit squiffy. 2 command barges cost 290 points versus the Silent King's 400 points. However, I've managed to get it quite close, so I've got 2 Gauss cannons attached to both of the command barges. They're 5 points each. I've got both of them equipped with a War Scythe, that's another 5 points each. And both of them I've given the Resurrection Orb, which are 30 points each. So I've actually managed to total the command barges side to 370 points for 2, going up against that 400 points. So less than a 10% points difference, not too big. Let's get on with the video. And in fact, let's go through the keywords to begin. Neither are now core because we've got that new nerf, if you like, quite recently, where our vehicle characters have lost the core keyword. Now they are both still character models, they both got the fly keyword. Now the command barge will work with any of the dynasty codes with any of the dynasty keywords, whereas the Silent King, he is a dynastic agent but does have the Xerican dynasty keyword, so he can interact with their stratagem. Right, now we're going to move on to the comparisons. Let's start with the stats. So stat line to begin, let's compare. So first of all, the movement of the command barge is 12 inches versus the Silent King's 8 inches, so that command barge is moving faster. The toughness is only 6 versus the Silent King 7. Now when we get onto the wounds, it gets a little bit dodgy because 2 command barge wounds combined together is 18 in total, whereas the Silent King alone has 16, but he's also got the 2 Tricorn Minears alongside him, which have 5 each, so that will in fact add up to 26 wounds for the Silent King. Then we come on to the attacks. The attacks is actually equal. The Silent King has 6 attacks, the Minears have 1 each, so that total 8, although 2 of them aren't that great, and the command barge is total 8 as well. Now there are lots of extra attacks with the Silent King's weapons, but as far as the datasheet shows, they've both got 8 at the moment. We must mention, of course, the Silent King has got a degrading stat line because he's of course got more than 10 wounds. So it's the movement and as well as the attacks that does get degraded, but he isn't a Titanic vehicle because his wounds are split up into 3 separate models as mentioned, so he doesn't have to have that Titanic keyword, which actually interacts not as well with some of the terrain features. But all in all, in terms of the stats, I think I would prefer the Silent King stats. You kind of guessed that already, it's a 400 point model. Right, as for the abilities, the ones that they've got in common, well, slightly in common, they're not completely in common, but the Mile Will Be Done ability and the Relentless March Aura ability, both of these sides of the argument have these abilities. However, the Catacomb Command Barges require you to be within the same dynasty code, so that means they're not going to interact with the Triumph Praetorians, for example, whereas the Silent King just requires them to be Necron core units as well as the Triumph Praetorians. So the Silent King's buff synergize further than the command barges, although there will be 2 command barges I guess. Now that's the ones I've got in common. As for the unique stuff, well, first of all, the command barges have got any dynasty code you're going with. If it's the Mefret dynasty, if it's the Novat dynasty, and then the Helek dynasty, maybe you're going custom, but they've got the dynasty code as well as the dynastic warlord trait and the dynastic relic. They've got the options of taking those, so the Silent King doesn't have options of those. They've then got the Quantum Shielding ability, so you can't wound them on less than a 4+, as well as the 5+ Invulnerable save. Now going back to that Quantum Shielding ability, I just wanted to throw in the stratagem here. You can make use of the Quantum Deflection stratagem for 1 CP to make that 5+ Invulnerable save go to a 4+. Wanted to get that in here so we don't miss it out later in the video. They've of course both got Resurrection Orbs each, so they're going to be bringing back models in our command phases, and we've got 2 of them. Quite a lot of the time they do get their points back when you bring back models. And finally, it's got the Explode ability. On a roll of a 6 when it is destroyed, units within 3 inches take 1 single mortal wound. The Silent King does have an Explode ability, but it's something slightly different and it is a lot bigger. Right, the Silent King, he's got a whole host of abilities. I've actually got 3 different screens to show you because I couldn't fit them on the screens. The first one is the Noctilith Beacons, I don't know if I've said that right, Basically allows him to deny the witch, pretty cool. Obedience generators, so enemy units that are within engagement range will be fighting last. So it ensures first of all the Silent King will be fighting first. But if you've got other friendly Necron units within that same fight, they're also going to be fighting before the enemy units fight. Pharaon of the Stars, so core units get to reroll all hit rolls at range. And Pharaon of Blades, core units will get to reroll all win rolls in melee. And then he's got the Pharaon ability, which allows his My Will Be Done ability to be used twice as opposed to once, so 2 different units. Now the command barges do have the option of taking the Pharaon keyword, but you've got to spend 2 command points to use a stratagem, and you can only use it on one of the command barges. That's part 1. Part 2, we've got Voice of the Triarch, so you're basically allowed to alter your command protocols. Now I don't know how useful that is nowadays because we've got that permanent all game protocol, as well as the 5 that are in all the turns, so I don't think that's actually usable anymore. You've got the Triarchal Menhir ability, so attacks go on the Menhirs first. You've got the Silent King ability, so you're starting with 3 additional command points, which is really good in the Nephilim Warzone book because we were halved our CP before the game even begins. And then we've got the Transtemporal Force Field, which is basically his 4+ invulnerable save. That's part 2. Part 3, this Preservative Auto Tempo. I've put this into 2 different parts here because there's quite a lot to it. The first part is, so he's going to be losing his Pharaon of Stars ability that we just mentioned previously when he's at 8 wounds or less, and he cannot be making attacks with his Staff of Stars weapon. We'll go over the weapons in a moment. That's part 1. Part 2, you're losing the Pharaon of Blades ability when you're at 4 wounds or less, and you cannot be making attacks with the Scythe of Dust. That's another weapon he's got. He's got a lot of weapons, guys. Then the final ability is Vengeful of the Enchained. So this is his explosion ability. It's on a 4+, not a 6+, and units within 2d6 take d6 mortal wounds. So a pretty hefty explosion there. And to be honest, this one's a very easy win for the Silent King. I've not seen as many abilities in the Necron Codex. So we get onto the weapons next, starting off with the Catacomb Command Barges. We've equipped the Gorse Cannons already because we've spent the points. There's going to be 2 of them, 24-inch range, heavy 3, strength 6, -3 AP, d3 damage. So in total we're going to have 6 shots with the 2 barges. Really useful against toughness 3 because it wounds on 2s, but also really useful against power armor because of that -3 AP, which will go down to -2 armor of contempt, and d3 damage usually will get rid of a Space Marine model. They've both got the War Scythes as well, of course, which we've also equipped. These are strength +2, so that makes them strength 7, -4 AP, and the damage will be a flat 2. Again, very nice Space Marine killers. Now you do have relic options with the command barges. It's 1 CP per barge, of course. You can take the Void Reaper perhaps, so that damage becomes 3, and it also ignores Feel Pains and things like that. You've got the option of the Voltaic Staff, which is quite popular with the command barges. 18-inch assault 4, strength 6, -2 AP, 2 damage, exploding 6s, and the melee side is the exact same without the exploding 6s. Or if you're in the Novak Dynasty, you've got the option of the Blood Scythe, where it's the exact same as a War Scythe except you get 2 additional attacks with it. So lots of options with command barges because they can take relics. Take a deep breath because the Silent King has got a lot of weaponry, so here we go. So first of all, in the list we've got 2 Annihilator beams. So the Triarchal Menhirs have got a beam each, 36-inch range, heavy 1, strength 12, -4 AP, and a flat 6 damage. These things are brutal. If you manage to score wounds with these things, yeah, flat 6 damage is taking out a lot of things, or at least bracketing something, right? His next shooting capability is the Scepter of Eternal Glory, only 24-inch range this time. Assault 3, strength 8, -3 AP, 2 damage. Pretty nice, only 3 shots, but you're hitting on 2s, and strength 8, yeah, you're likely wounded on 2s as well. The next one is the Staff of Stars, 24-inch range again. This time you're getting 9 shots, Assault 9, strength 6, -2 AP, 1 damage. So very good at removing 1 wound models with a low toughness, toughness 3 in particular, you're wounded on a 2. So they're the attacks coming from range. As for the melee side of things, the Scepter of Eternal Glory, this is his main weapon with 6 attacks, so it's strength +4, making it strength 9, -3 AP, 2 damage. So 6 attacks with that. You've then got the Scythe of Dust, which is 4 additional attacks, which is strength +3, that makes it strength 8, -4 AP, and a flat 3 damage this time. And finally the Staff of Stars, which is 3 additional attacks, strength 5, -2 AP, 1 damage. So overall it's a total combined 15 attacks once you include the Triarchal Menhirs attacks. I mean, those 2 attacks aren't going to do anything to be honest, but I just wanted to throw them all in here together. 15 attacks in melee, all different damages, damage 1, damage 2, damage 3. There's all sorts going off there. He can literally attack anything he wants. So I think that's another easy win for the Silent King. They've kind of both got the same purposes, so we're going to go straight into the advantages and disadvantages of all these units. So starting off with the 2 Catacomb Command Barges, the advantages are they are cheaper. Now in this case we've got them at 30 points cheaper, but you can make them a lot cheaper if you didn't take the war gear options that we took. They are 2 separate models in 2 separate locations, buffing 2 separate units. You've got the quantum shielding ability, which potentially could use the quantum deflection ability, or stratagem rather. You've got the options of relics because they're unnamed characters, choice of warlord traits. They can use the lookout sir ability as well, that's pretty important because they're under 10 wounds. They've got the dynasty code options, they've got 2 resurrection orbs, they've got a better movement of movement 12, and finally they do not have a degrading stat line. As for the disadvantages for the command barges, well, they're only toughness 6, not toughness 7. Only a combined total wounds of 18 as opposed to 26. Much less weaponry, as we've just gone through that huge list that the Silent King has, so they've got nowhere near that. They've only got the 5+ invulnerable save, not a 4+ like the Silent King does, although it can be pushed to a 4+ for 1 CP. Abilities are only going to work with the dynastic units, so the Triumph Praetorians for example, that's not going to work. And finally, even though there's 2 separate models here, it's only 1 model per unit, whereas the Silent King has got 3 separate models. So in some situations where maybe you've only got 1 wound on one of the Trichominiers and they throw out a damage 6 weapon, that Trichominier is going to take the whole thing and the rest of the damage is wasted. Right, let's get on to the Silent King. Advantages, there's quite a lot again. Toughness 7, not toughness 6, 26 wounds combined, a 4+ invulnerable save, high damage output. We've gone through the list of weapons, there's loads there. The Pharaoh ability, I mean yes, the command barges can take the Pharaoh ability, and yes there are 2 barges, so technically you're already getting 2 mal will be done's with the command barges I guess, so maybe that one probably shouldn't be in the list to be honest with you. You've got the 2 Trichominiers with those beams which are fantastic. You've got the Deny the Witch every turn. You can manipulate the command protocols, that's more to do with the warlord trait which we didn't actually go over because the command barges can also take that warlord trait I guess. You've got the Fight Last ability with the Silent King. Abilities that work on non-dynasty units. Again, Triumph Praetorians are the ones I'm talking about there. And finally, you're gaining 3 additional command points before the game even begins. Disadvantages, you're only in 1 single location, so you're only going to be buffing units within that location. You can't be selecting your dynasty code because he's stuck with the Xerican dynasty, and he's not even gaining the dynasty code, he's just using the stratagem if he wants to. He's going to be more expensive at 400 points, he's only moving 8 inches, which is still pretty good, but yeah, it's not moving 12. He's got no quantum shielding ability, so you can wound him on less than a 4+. He can't be taking any of the relics, he can't be selecting any of his warlord traits. He's got no lookout sir ability, which is unfortunate, so he is going to be targeted straight away if they wanted to target him. He's got degradable stats, which does affect his movement and attacks. And finally, he loses weapons when he gets damaged. We mentioned in his ability section, the Staff of Stars and the Scythe of Dust. Once it goes down to 8 or 4 wounds, he's going to be losing those weapons as well as the 2 abilities as well. So, we're getting on to the part of the video where I've got to make a decision. Now, I actually thought I was going to go one way again and I've gone the other. But it's only because of my love for command barges. That's why I thought I was going to select the command barges today. But how can we deny the Silent King? He's got so many abilities, he's got so many weapons, both in melee, both in shooting, both going up against monsters, vehicles, elite models, infantry, light infantry. He can do literally everything you want him to do and then some. So even though I really love the command barges and they are really useful, really tanky, but I've got to go with my guy, the Silent King. So guys, that does wrap up the series for December. I hope you've enjoyed it and remember to get involved in that giveaway. I hope you have a wonderful Christmas and of course a Happy New Year as well, but we'll be doing a video between Christmas and New Year. I'm not sure when the video will be to be doing the draw for the command box set. So yeah, all that's left to say is Merry Christmas and I will see you in the next one.